Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you are listening to this, you are a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small. Great? Like the resilience and determination of the people of Ukraine. And small, hopefully, like Donald Trump's chances of being reelected president. Also, I am the Lord High Commander of the great Slaptail Nation Army. And with me today is my number 2, coming to us live from the Uniden, the Rons.
Hey, Beaveman, just making sure that, you were done with your intro before you interrupted me as usual. How are you doing?
I am doing well, Rons. Thank you for asking. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful wintry evening.
Yes, it is wintry.
Is it winter yet? Anybody? Rons, is it winter yet? Is it technically?
I don't think it's technically winter. I think it's still fall. I don't know. I don't know.
I personally, on the first snowfall, people know how to. They don't know how to fucking drive.
That wasn't the question, Rons.
Wasn't the question, Rons. The question was, is it winter yet?
Yeah, I guess so.
From the seasons. All right, so we don't really know. Also with us today, just making it here by the hair on her chinny chin chin or on her upper lip, is the Swan.
Harsh.
Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Did you like that intro? I did the great and small thing.
I did like it.
But as you notice, if I do that, then I have to wait to say Lord High Commander of the Great Slaptail Nation Army. I'm going to have to actually restructure my intro that I've done so well for so long.
Well, I think you're adaptable. I'm going to give you a compliment, I guess.
It's kind of a rough evening. We've already had some changes to the lineup.
Yeah.
Tremonde was supposed to be here with us, and last minute, he had to pull out. And that's only good if you're a super fertile male with some sort of a skank chick that you don't want to have a baby with. Hi-yo!
Ew.
Hi-yo! No, probably that's that old man mentality of mine. That type of comedy is not appreciated anymore.
Why isn't it?
Well, it might be with our listening audience, because our listening audience is probably not super young. But I also had an issue this evening, Swan, already.
You did?
Yes.
What kind of issue?
I had time after work. As we all know, I work 12 hours today.
You should be tired and yawning like Ron does.
I ran outside after I had a quick bite to eat, thinking I was going to obliterate the snow in the driveway with my mighty snowblower, my mighty Aaron snowblower, of which we are not getting paid for this little advertisement. And it was chopping up the snow. It was throwing it awesomely. And then what happened? It stopped doing it. So what do you think,
Why?
Swan?
Why did
what
it
do you
stop
think
doing
happened,
it?
Swan?
You ran out of gas.
No.
Oh.
Now, remember the other day how I got a package?
Oh, the something pin broke?
Yes. And I know, Swan, that those shear pins that I got from...
Shear pin, yeah.
I know that they don't fit. I know they're not the right size.
Why do you know this?
I guarantee it. They just don't look the same. And there's this little holder for shear pins on the top of my snowblower, and those pins don't fit in that holder.
So that means
they're not the right fucking shear pin. So guess what's going to have to happen tomorrow?
You're going to pay $12 for shipping for something that cost you $10?
No, I will. I think that one of the local stores, Lowe's, I believe, has them, which means somebody's going to have to road trip tomorrow.
Not it.
No, it's going to be you, Swan, because I work 12 hours again tomorrow.
Oh. Well, I guess it's me. It's me.
It's you. It's you. You win.
Ron will do it.
You win,
Ron will do it.
You win.
Actually, I would, but I'm working tonight. So.
I know, but you're at our beck and call, and if we tagged you or texted you during the day, you would answer because you're that important.
Yeah, exactly. Good point, Swan.
Good point, but I'd probably be sleeping.
No, you're gonna answer.
Remember, you're like a little what's that? Like a little cat. You just respond. Hiya, right there.
Meow.
There you go. Oh yeah, you're right. I do respond.
See? So
no, you don't. No, you don't. It goes days without you responding to a text from us.
Yeah, so then what is his big deal about not sleeping then?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
He does not respond to text right away.
He doesn't.
He does not.
Anyway,
so that's already happened. A lot of snow out there. That's okay. Also, I have noticed that because of this great temperature drop, I'm a little worried about my friend that's hanging up outside.
Oh, your little dear
My
friend?
little friend. My little friend.
Why are you worried about it? Don't we want it cold?
Well, I don't know how frozen it's supposed to be.
Oh.
How am I now it's in the position that it's in, and it's rather strewn out. It's lengthened position. How am I gonna fit it in the Jeep, Swan? It's gonna have to sit right next to me.
Oh, that's not good.
What are you talking about? What little friend?
Well, Rons, you don't know because you do
I
not
don't.
you do
That's
not
why I'm
hunt.
asking.
You do not hunt, but opening day was the 15th of
And-
firearm season here in Michigan, in the Great White North. I don't know if you can call it the Great White North.
Yeah, I
Maybe
know.
that's Canada and the UP. We're white enough, the North-ish.
Okay.
And I got my deer the second day, and said deer is hanging from my deck right now, out in the cold. Because you want the body to cool down before you take it to the processor, if at all possible. But now it's probably gonna be frozen.
That's something I never knew.
Well,
Why do you want the body to cool down?
I mean, you definitely don't want warm
you
meat
definitely don't
just
want it
sitting
hot.
out.
You definitely don't want it hot.
I mean, you could take it right away, right? And get it processed? I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
You could take it right away, or you have to chill it.
Usually they want you to kind of hang it to let it drain a little bit and cool down. But
I was
you
not
know.
familiar with that.
Well, why would you be? You don't
Because
hunt.
you're not a hunter.
You're not a hunter, Rons. Why would you be? Why would you be familiar with it?
You just don't want it to be out there, hanging out there in the warmth and
No.
spoiling.
Well, I guess that'd be a great ward off for the neighbors that they come out and see a deer.
Why would there
carcass
be
in your
neighbors
yard.
in my backyard?
Exactly.
It's not like
Why would
it's not
there
like we
be?
have it like on the front porch.
No.
We're not those people.
No. Some people do hang it in the garage, though. I wouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
but then you'd have to like wash down your bloody garage.
Well, not even that. I don't want my deer smelling like a car.
That's true.
I don't
Yeah.
want that. I don't want that fuel smell, that lawnmower smell on my deer.
You want the fresh air deer.
Yeah, fresh air deer. Although, every time this happens, this is sad, but every time I hang a deer, you know what thought goes through my head?
Some animal's gonna come and eat it.
No.
I don't know.
No, there's a scene in Rocky. In the
You want to
first-
hit it?
I do. I want to be like, that scene where he's
Yeah, but,
punching the cow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's getting cold enough, so it would be frozen. So you go out and just tenderize it if you need to.
Yeah. Well, he was hitting basically frozen meat.
Yeah.
Well, not frozen salad, but pretty freaking cold. Breaking the ribs. The rack. He was breaking the ribs. Anyway.
I don't have that urge.
I didn't say you did.
I'm just saying. I just want to put it out
I
there.
do. Every time I go there, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go a few rounds with this deer here. And for those of you who are offended by my hunting, I think that I will just have to say, go fuck yourself. Hunting is necessary.
I mean, you're not hunting it to hang it on the wall. You're hunting it to eat it. I think there's a difference.
That is
Well, I
true.
don't know. It's hanging in the garage right now.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
Not hanging in the garage.
Pay
It's hanging on
attention,
the
Ron. It's hanging
deck.
from
Were
the
you
deck.
not listening?
No, he clearly was not listening.
No.
no,
Clearly
I
he was
wasn't.
not.
I mean, maybe he was listening. He just wasn't comprehending
Oh,
something.
thank you.
Or I was giving you. I mean, he just wasn't listening, to be honest. But
No, I was incomprehending.
you may more likely he probably actually also was not comprehending.
true.
That is probably likely.
And then he already forgot because of the dementia.
That's true too. Here's what I was noticing though.
Oh, poor
What
Ons.
were you noticed?
I was noticing that, as we all know, that I think about comedy throughout the week and what would be funny and how to write bits. And there was a couple of things that came to mind.
I mean, what were they?
First of all, I wanted to ask you guys this question. Rons, I know that
Yes.
believe your father passed away, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay, but you have conversations with your mother on a regular basis.
No, I don't.
All right then. How often do you talk to your mother?
About once every few months.
Okay.
That's more often than I talk to mine.
That's not super often, but okay. Now, when you have these conversations with your mother, as an example, does she infuriate you at all, or you just have like normal conversations and it's not a big deal? Here he
No,
goes.
because
Remember how I said that?
No, that was an okay one. He was like thinking, I think.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
was.
gonna give him.
Breathe.
I know, but he was like that was like a sigh in to before he talked.
It's really not
Okay,
necessary.
fair
Where
enough.
I was
fair
gonna, I'm
enough.
gonna defend that one, but
It's
the
really not
next,
necessary. I don't do that.
but the next time I'm gonna call you out on it. I feel like that one was relevant to this start of his sentence because it was part of his conversation. It was a meaningful
to answer your
sigh.
question, do conversations with my mother infuriate me? They can, however, I've figured a way out of them most of the time.
You hang up and you're like, oops, call dropped. Bad service. Sorry.
No, there are two ways out of it that I figured out. My mother will say, I've got to go. There's another person on the other line.
So she's trying to get out of that annoying conversation with you, is what you're
So
saying?
what you're saying is that you're the infuriating one.
Probably. Probably. The other way is I approach it like this: logic.
Mhm.
So
I call bullshit.
there you go. When you deal with somebody who infuriates you, you have to break it down. Why do they infuriate you? And if you can defeat their chaos with logic, you'll win every time.
Okay, can you give us an example of that?
Please give us an example that's not super boring. Give us a good one.
Yeah, you know,
He did it again.
when
See how he did it again?
Okay, he did it again.
does it.
So now we won't call you out on it. Just stop doing it.
Yeah, just stop doing
Just
it.
stop doing it. Okay, go ahead. An example.
So when we're talking, and I realize my mother doesn't know, or for that matter, somebody doesn't know anything about the subject I'm talking about, I kind of back off. Or if they think they know the subject better than me, I will listen. And then I will say, you know, that's not really how it works. It's like this.
Now, what is the litmus test for your area of expertise when you're talking about this? I mean, what is it that you know more about than they do?
It really depends on the subject.
Okay,
And,
so
I know
what-
that's a
what-
vague. I know
what's
that's
the
a vague.
example? So do you have an example of this?
Well, I would say geocaching.
Okay.
Okay, so you were having a conversation that you brought up with your mom, or your mom brought up with you about geocaching?
No, oh, wow, I did it again. This was I was talking
Now
to
he
somebody
knows.
at work.
Wait, we were talking
And-
about your mom.
Listen to me,
Okay,
listen
okay.
to me. And this guy kept on interrupting, going, "It's like this, it's like this, like this." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Okay, I see where you're going with this, but it's not like that all the time." Oh, but it can be. I'm like, "Well, it can be, but it's like this." And finally, I just got infuriated with this guy, and I said, "Listen, do
Okay.
you teach a course in geocaching?" And he looks at me like, "What?" I said, "Do you teach a course in geocaching?" No.
He said,
Then shut
"Why
the fuck up.
He said, "Why the fuck would anybody do that? Who needs to
But I
take
do.
Who needs to take a class in that?
So
how
basically-
fucking dumb are you that you can't?
That you can't find it yourself?
Oh, you can't figure out how to do
No.
geocaching? You gotta have a class.
I teach
Now-
in the summertime.
Now,
that
what does
class?
this? But what does this have to do with conversation with your mother?
Well, it's along the same lines. If you
Son
no
of
no
a
no
bitch.
no hold on hold on hold
An
on
example,
hold on
and he gives you a
Question.
random dude
hold
example.
on. You asked me to say, what subject are you a little bit better at?
Right,
No,
more
right.
knowledgeable
In,
on?
He's
in regards
getting
to
off
having
track
a
now.
conversation with your mother.
Oh, computers by far.
Okay, well, I'm a little confused now. Help me out here. Now, if we were talking about your mother, and you said that you will have conversations with her where you clearly know more, and I said, well, that's subjective. So what are the subjects that you feel like you know more about than your mother?
I see where I made the jump.
And
You're
then,
right. You're
and then you start
absolutely
talking about.
right.
I
You're
thought you were gonna somehow.
absolutely
I thought you were
right.
gonna bring this around to how this guy's banging your mom, and they're having the conversation about geocaching, and
No,
you
no, no.
stepped
You're
in.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So this guy's not banging your mom,
I hope not.
as far as
Trust
you know.
me.
As far as you know.
As far as I know.
For your
Not
mom's
her- for
sake
your mom's
or the
sake?
guy's sake?
No, my sake.
Your mom could
I
do
don't need
better.
a new
You're saying
dad.
your mom could do better.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
or worse.
Okay.
I don't care.
Not giving your mom much credit.
the
Not giving your mom much
subject-
credit there. I hope you're not listening,
No,
Ron's
she
moms?
doesn't.
Mama Rons.
Mama Rons?
Mama Rons.
No,
we
she
hope you're not
doesn't
listening
listen
right
to
now. Are you
podcasts.
sure?
Why
I'm
don't you
positive.
share
Why
it
not?
with her?
Why
Why haven't you shared it with her, Rons?
I tell people all the time. My
Do you
family,
tell
they
your
don't
mom?
care.
Do you tell your mom? Say, Mom, listen to my podcast.
Yeah,
You do?
I've done it. I think a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Now, has
But-
she tried to tell you about podcasting?
No.
No. All right. Well, now what? So what conversation? So what you have these conversations
Fair
with your
enough.
mother where
Yes,
you're
it
the
was
subject
about
matter
computers
expert.
It was about a computer when she was first setting it up, and I couldn't get something right, and I said, "I need your password." And I went back and forth. I got a friend online. We were testing stuff out. We're troubleshooting, and the password just didn't work. I said, "Are you sure this is your password?" And she went, "Yeah, that's my password." I'm like, "Okay." Got a technical advisor online, right? Got a technical advisor here and there,
Now, with your IT savvy,
Yeah,
you had to get a technical advisor online.
because her password wasn't worked. I was stumped. Then it dawned on me. No. This
like,
is how
was caps lock
this is
on?
how it went down.
It dawned on him. Her... Okay, go
So
ahead.
she says, "Oh, there's a 1 here at the end of my password." I went, "What?" So for a half hour, almost a full hour, I've been trying to get her password to work. It got, and I thought it was me. I thought it was the computer. I said, "Why the hell didn't you tell me there's a 1 at the end of your password?" She goes, "Oh, I didn't think it was important."
Well, then that's not her password. If she wasn't including the 1.
There you go. Aren't you the smart one?
I am the smart one.
You are.
So you said...
At that point, I realized that sometimes you've got to be a lot more logical. So whenever I deal with the conversation with her, I'm like, "Are you sure that's how it is? Are you positive?" To the point where it gets infuriating, to the point for both of us, almost. Or I go, "This is the way it should be, and that's where it's going to lie. I'm just going to end the conversation right there." So I defeat it with a little bit of logic and let it go away.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Why am I so great? That would be a great question. Go ahead.
No, my question is this. Did you actually have an argument with your mother about what a password is after you determined that that was not the password? Or was it just over after that? And now you're just holding it over her head from now on because you feel like she leaves out details, so you second guess her on everything.
No, I don't second guess her on anything. I really don't. It's not my position to.
But didn't he just say
He did.
he keeps asking her, "Are you sure that's what? Are you sure this? Are you sure?" Now that's what you do now.
Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think you
you know
should
what?
invite
You
your
got-
mom
yeah.
to listen to this podcast.
Yeah. I see where you're going with
The
that.
better
too.
question might be, Runs, do you realize what you say after you say it?
No.
Or does it immediately leave your brain?
Because
And
I've noticed that, Beaveman, you will flip it no matter which
It's not
fucking
flipping
way
it.
I
I was
take
just
it.
asking. I was just asking a question. You told the story. I'm like, okay, well now he's going to tell us how he had this major argument with his mother about
Well, it
passwords.
wasn't a major
And
argument.
then she
It was
said,
just-
"No, I know, and you don't know." And then you guys, that's
And then I defeated her with logic.
right. But
But
then he
there
immediately
was
just went on to
no-
something else and basically just said that now he holds it over her head the rest of her life because of this one time.
Well, the
that
way you
she
made it
didn't-
sound is like I'm being very tyrannical, and I'm not.
Okay,
Not being very
it's fine.
tyrannical.
It's fine. I was just it was just a question. Now we can't even ask Swan that because she doesn't even talk to her parents.
True.
Why is that?
That's a long story, but
It's
because
a very boring.
it's very
story.
boring.
Very
but
boring.
Oh,
basically,
my stories are
I've
edited
decided
better.
Said about it.
that you can choose your family, and you can choose not to associate them if they anger you to the point of that it gives you more anxiety with your life. So I have chosen not to speak to them, and I feel better about myself.
As you should.
You can pick your family. No,
You can.
can't.
Yeah.
You can pick your friends,
You can pick
No,
both.
you
You can
pick
pick
your
your
nose.
friend's nose.
but you can't pick your friend's nose.
You can if
Wait
they
a
have a
minute.
booger.
No, wait a minute. I
Something.
forgot that whole thing. But you know
Anyway.
what, though?
Well, you work in the medical field. I
You
guess you can
don't-
pick your friend's
You
nose.
don't have to associate yourself with them if they are toxic in your life.
Ron's, what's the difference between peanut butter and jam? No, never mind.
He wants to know.
No,
Rons, do you know?
no, he probably
He
knows.
does.
Yeah.
What?
One's made with peanuts, the other made with a berry
All right.
or fruit.
Well, that's the answer. Way to go, Ron's.
Good job, buddy.
What the hell was that question about?
My family, I love my family, obviously, but they do make me a little annoyed. So, and then they just won't drop it. I don't know why they won't drop it when it's clear that I don't want to talk about something.
Do you
What?
think that they know you don't want to talk about it?
I think it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
I think. Wait, so you think that
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
make
they-
it obvious? You think I don't make it obvious that there's things that I don't want to talk about?
Well, I mean, maybe you do, but they don't see those cues. They don't
What would be the
recognize those
subject
cues.
You don't want to talk about, B-Man.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about most about everything. But here's the funny interaction I had with my dad the other day. I'm hunting. It's day 2. Day 2. Early morning. Day
Day
1.
2 of the hunt.
Day 1 of the hunt. I missed, Rons. I missed my shot. I shot at a deer and I missed.
How does that even happen?
I don't know. That doesn't typically happen to me.
I mean, last year's deer, you shot a running deer.
I did.
And this year's deer you missed that was standing still.
Yes.
So how does that happen?
I do not know. And they were actually almost in the same location.
So do you think that maybe you shot a little ahead of it because you thought it would run?
Nope.
Nope?
Here's what
Okay.
honestly, here's what I think happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no way of proving this because I just don't miss. I don't miss.
Uh-huh. So what do you think happened? The deer jumped a little bit?
No, I don't think so. Here's what happened. It's opening day. It's 8:30 in the morning, approximately.
Okay,
Yeah,
we don't
we get
need
the-
that.
yeah.
We got that.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Just tell the story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hear birds chirping or
No, there were.
gunfire.
There were birds chirping. Anyway, this deer saunters along, and it's standing there.
Looking all cute and deer-like.
It was deer-like. And I was just about to shoot it. And as I was about to shoot it, this really strange thought popped into my head. And this was the thought. If I shoot this deer, and this is no lie, I'm not lying. If I shoot this deer, hunting season's over at before 8:30 on opening day, and I've taken 2 days off to hunt. And then I missed the deer.
Like you would subconsciously missed on purpose so that you could hunt all day.
Which makes no sense, because then I was pissed all day that I missed the deer. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should have just not missed, and then you could have still hunted all day.
Well, if I would have got it, then I could have just slept in the next day, which I have yet to do. Yeah. So anyway, day 2. I'm out there
Okay, day 2.
in the tree stand, chilling, literally, because it was cold. And today's not the first snow, by the way, Ron, because I was out in the snow while it was snowing on
Fair
opening
enough.
day. Anyway, I'm out there. I shoot said deer. All right. So I'm dragging the deer out of the woods, getting ready to do my thing, dress out the deer. And that does not mean put little fancy clothes on it, Rons.
All
If
right,
you
I'm
would
gl-
have given him a couple
I'm so
seconds,
glad
he
you
was going to say
clarified
that. He was totally going to say that.
Get ready to
I was
field
gonna go that
dress
route.
the deer. For those of you that do not know, I will not be graphic about it with hunting, but you have to remove the internal organs. That's called a field dressing. And then that's just prepping it for either you're going to do the processing of the deer or you're going to take it somewhere for processing. Anyway, so I'm out there. I'm kind of taking off my cold weather clothing because it gets kind of warm while you're doing that because you're exerting yourself. And I hear my dad fire up the tractor. Well, now it's pretty nice. My dad, if I shoot a deer, he either texts me or I text him, and then he comes along with his little tractor with his front end loader, and he picks up the deer with a front end loader. I put it in there, and he takes it back to the car, which is nice because then I don't have to drag it out. I'm not a young man. What do I want to drag a deer for several hundred yards for?
Exercise.
No. A lot of people have heart attacks doing that.
Yeah, they're not as light as they look.
That's why. Oh, I thought you were going to say they have heart attacks from exercising. That's why I don't like to exercise.
No, from dragging a deer out.
Yeah, because they're
That's like
dead
a
weight.
different time of
The deer
exercise.
doesn't help you. It does not assist.
Oh,
It does not assist. Anyway, so I dress the deer out. My dad puts it in the front end loader. He drives it up to the house. And we were chatting back and forth. And this entire time, my father is telling me his philosophies on deer hunting about
Oh boy.
how deer travel, when they travel, what time they get up, when they go to bed. They won't, this is what he told me. He's like, they won't come out when it's a storm. I was out there while it was actively snowing in a minor snow, quote, storm. And I saw a deer, but yet he told me, he's like, no, they hunker down. They don't get up and move. I'm like, yet I already saw a deer and shot at it. And as I told this one later, I'm like, I'm so tired of people giving me their philosophies on what deer do. Unless you're like this major awesome hunter who hunts all the time and knows the migratory patterns and everything that deer does, your advice is Not necessary. My dad does not hunt. Regardless.
It's sort of like the old adage, people without children giving you advice on how to raise children. That's kind of pointless. Thank you for your effort, but go away.
Thank you for that descriptor. It was much better than me saying that my father, who does not hunt, is giving me hunting advice. For those of you who did not understand what I was saying.
What were you saying?
Okay, so regardless. Anyway, so I got a doe. This is a female deer. Get it?
Doe, a deer,
It's a female deer.
female deer.
So I'm sitting there, and my father's like, oh, did you see more than one deer? I said, yes, I did. The deer that was... Now, follow along. This is where it gets very important, everyone. I want you to pay
All right, we're following
close
along.
attention. Pay very close attention.
There's
There's
a
you of
quiz
the
at
hunt.
the end. There's a
Listeners at
quiz
home.
at the end, Rons.
Listeners at home, if you need to get a piece of paper and a pencil right now, just to follow along with my father's line of thinking, keep in mind this is a conversation that took place in more than one location, 3 locations, about the same subject. Father says to me, so you saw more than one deer? I said, yes. Oh, so this deer that you got must be a young deer, must have just been born. I said, no, this is a mama deer. Well, how do you know that? I'm like, well, she has milk. Oh, okay. But you saw more than one deer. I did indeed see more than one deer. I said, the deer that was behind this deer, which is doe, this particular deer is a doe.
Uh-huh.
The deer behind it was a buck. And he said, well, how did you know it was a buck? I'm like, well, and this is crucial, folks. I used my binoculars, because that's what I use when I hunt. My binoculars, because that's how it's said.
I don't think that's how it's said.
Binoculars.
I said
Not binoculars.
binoculars.
Yeah,
But he does
binoculars.
totally say it like that. Like, he wasn't exaggerating. That's really how he says it.
Anyway,
Okay.
so the deer that was behind this doe, which is what I shot, which was doe, which is deer. The deer behind it was a buck. And he said, how do you know that? I'm like, because I could see its little tiny horns. It was what we call a button buck. In other words, it's a young buck. It has not grown. It's very recently born. And hence, I knew that the doe that was with it was its mama because it had milk. Following along so far. I saw
So this
2
is
deer.
just like right out of Bambi.
It was.
You shot Bambi.
It was
Mom.
actually after I shot this deer. Later on, I had to go back up and get my tent from my other deer blind, and I was going, "Mother, mother."
Nice.
Yeah, let's not add the irony there.
Anyway.
It kind of makes you kind of
Those of
sound
you who have
assy.
seen that movie, there's a scene where Bambi's like, "Mother." Anyway,
Yeah, that makes you kind of assy. I was all about your hunting until you decided to be assy.
anyway. So my father says, "Oh, well, this deer must have just been born." And again, I said, "No, it's a mama deer because there was a buck that was following it, and this deer has milk." Following along.
Yes.
Okay. I field dressed the
Stated
deer.
several times already, but yes, I follow.
And this is about how many times I stated it. That's why I'm talking about this conversation. All right, so I load the deer in the front end loader. I walk back over to the garage. My dad brings the deer over, and I washed out the deer. So my dad says to me,
Oh, God.
so there were more than one deer out there? I said, yes. He's like, you just don't see any bucks out here.
And you're like, I just saw a buck following mama deer.
Yes. I said, well, as I stated previously, there were 2 deer. The one that I shot, this particular one that we are currently rinsing out, was the mama deer, and right behind it was a button buck. So clearly there are bucks out there because that's how deer are made. You need a mama deer and a daddy deer to make a baby deer.
So you gave your dad the facts of life in deer form.
Yeah, deer don't just split and become another deer. That's not how it works.
Okay.
I rinse out the
So
deer.
with this newfound logic that you told your father, how did he react?
Well, when you have a conversation with my father, he looks at you like he's listening to what you're saying, But really, he's doing what Swan does. He's thinking about what he wants to say next and is just waiting for you to stop speaking for even just a second so he can start speaking. So it really doesn't matter what you say. He really just wants to talk.
Mm-hmm. So what did he say next?
So we load the deer again, and he's like, well, I'll take it over to your car. I'm like, thank you. So I don't want to drag it, whatever. So he takes it over there. I put the deer in the car, and he says to me, so you saw more than one deer out there.
Jesus, man. Holy moly. Like, for reals?
I said, yes. He's like, you just don't see any bucks out here.
Oh my god.
I don't ever see any bucks out here.
So did you say for the love of all things? Oh my gosh.
Actually, no, and I'll tell you why after I've had this conversation. So
Why?
I said, well, no, I saw a buck when I was out there. He's like, but the one you got here, he's like, was this a buck? I'm like, no.
It's the mama.
This is a doe. He's like, well, I thought you said that you saw a buck. He's like, you didn't shoot the buck? I said, no, it was a button buck. He's like, well, how did you know that this isn't a buck? I'm like, it's because it's got girl parts. It's doe. I'm like, it's the mama. He's like, well, this looks like a really young deer. It must have just been born. I'm like, it's at least a season old because there was a buck that was following it. That was its child. I don't think it adopted this buck. I don't think it's a foster deer mama. I don't think that it's from an arranged marriage. And this is, the other mama passed away. And this one is, she's married to this other, this buck that's out there.
Some
and this
species
is his
do
kid,
adopt.
and this is his kid from another marriage.
Well,
I'm pretty sure this is his mom.
Yeah, well, some species do adopt other animals.
It's not a monkey.
I'm not saying it was a monkey.
But then it also had milk. So it just magically adopted this buck and then made some milk so that that's
Could
not
have
how it
gone to
happened.
the store, got a gallon of vitamin D milk.
Typically, a doe has to have been pregnant to produce milk, typically, and then to have a child that is suckling for it to be producing milk. And it was not producing that much milk anymore. So I'm assuming that buck was pretty much weaned. And as I'm walking up to get my tent, mother? Anyway, that's not the point. It's not the point. Anyway, so this conversation goes on with my dad for like another 5 minutes where I'm explaining to him that the deer that I have is indeed a doe. It was indeed a mother. It did have milk. It has a vagina. Therefore, it is not a buck.
And yes, I saw a buck because it was following it.
And yes, indeed, I did see a buck. But I did not shoot it because it was a button buck. It is not what I want to shoot.
But I have a question. Did you see more than one deer?
I did indeed see more than one.
If you
deer.
truly wanted to be a smartass, we know the Beaveman can be truly a smartass. He should have handed his father a couple of dollar bills. And
Why?
they go, there's more than one buck I've seen today.
Now, here is why I try very hard. Okay, it is frustrating. And my father's never going to listen to this podcast, so I'm not insulting him. But it is frustrating, and I try very hard not to get upset, and I'll tell you why. I try hard not to get upset.
Why is that?
Because I don't want my children to have the same annoyed thoughts that I have with my parents.
Your children are almost an identical copy of you.
So what you're saying is they already have those.
Yeah. With the boy, though, Sky is very laid back. I've known Sky for quite a bit of time. However, the daughter, oh, my Lord, she is, when you ask her how her day is, she's like, she rips into you like tissue paper.
My point is, I don't want them to have the same thoughts about me that I have about my parents.
So you changing your thought is going to, by proxy, change theirs?
Well, I just hope that they don't feel that way. As a matter of fact, as I was driving home, if my son would not have been at work, I would have called him to say, if I ever act like this, please just tell me so that you don't have to feel the way I feel about my parents when I have a conversation with them. Because that would be the worst thing in the world. Now, I'll admit that my parents probably don't give a shit if they actually knew how irritated I was with some of the conversations we had.
That's probably true.
because we're not that close. But I did not take. I sort of took the bait the other day. This is what they were saying to me the other day, Rons. This is no
Okay.
lie. Now, the other thing that's really important, and this is why I like why I like our podcast and why our podcast works, is even though we slightly annoy each other, we all kind of do think along the same lines, though. Like none of us are so polar opposites that we're going to get into a real argument. You know what I mean?
No, and even if we have differing opinions, we just leave it and move forward, and it's fine. And
what's
we
our
can-
safe word? Oaxaca?
Oaxaca, and we can always make fun of Ron at the end of the day to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah, everybody needs a lightning rod.
No, I just mean that none of us are so radical. Like, if I had came on and said, "Man, I really want Tudor Dixon to become our next governor," and I just started talking about how right that crazy nutbag was with all the stuff that she was saying. One, I would assume that you guys were thinking that I was full of crap.
Well, I would ask, you mean she wasn't?
Oh.
But yeah. Getting into the political side, I mean, I try to stay away from that crap.
Anyway, my point is that I don't think any of us are so radically different.
No.
I almost felt like my mother was trying to bait me the other day. Like she was trying to make me mad. I really felt like my dad tries to make me mad also, but doesn't realize that he's making me mad because of some of the shit that he says.
So then I don't think he would actively be trying. Now I can see your mom would kind of actively try.
Why are you talking shit about my mother?
Because she kind of your dad doesn't.
What'd you say about my mama?
I've been around long enough. I can say.
Why are you
'cause
saying
she's
shit about
kinda
my
like
mama?
My mama too. But
My mom
anyway,
is not like your mama.
I've been adopted.
No, my mother would never adopt you.
She would.
I don't think so.
She would.
No.
I mean, I don't think your dad likes confrontation, so I don't think your dad intentionally does it. I just don't think he.
If a man who causes confrontation all the time doesn't like confrontation, why?
Because he doesn't even. He's not aware of his surroundings to know that he does cause confrontation.
This is basically what happened, Rons.
Yes, because this sounds like an interesting story.
Basically, it's really not. Basically, the other day, I'm just sitting with my folks in the living room chatting, trying to have a non-confrontational conversation about general things. Now, my dad knows everything. He's kind of like my older brother. Actually, like my little brother, too. Everybody in my family knows everything except me.
I feel like that's a common thing with a lot of people. Like that they think that they know everything. Yeah.
Now,
that is a very common
Ron's probably
common
feels
thing.
like that too.
Now, I'm the guy who professes to know very little. And so if I don't know about something, I don't really talk about it because I don't know anything and I don't give my opinion on it.
But most people like to give their opinion about anything.
I don't. So my dad says to me, electric cars will never be a thing because we can't sustain electric cars. So basically he's saying that we should only have gas-powered vehicles. He said, they tested that all-electric truck and had it tow a trailer, but it could only go 65 miles before they had to charge it again, and that's just not efficient.
Okay.
Like, okay. And what is your point? Well, electric cars are just not sustainable. We just can't have them. So we should continue to have gas cars? Is that what you're saying? Well, okay. I said, here's the issue. You couldn't care less about what type of planet you've left for the people who will live after you. You've never recycled. You throw your garbage into your woods. You have dumped your own, oil changes into the ground. And you drive everywhere and you couldn't care less. So, in other words, by the time the world is basically fully engulfed in flamed and flooded at the same time, and of course covered in shit, you'll be dead. So you don't care. So you have no vested interest in the world and you never have.
And what did he say to that?
He laughed.
Because he had no answer for that. Right?
No, because it's the truth. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
And so what I don't understand as a parent is I would not intentionally or inadvertently push my children's buttons and be okay with it. So if I inadvertently did it, I would still want to hear their opinion and be like, okay, well, you're right. That's a jerky thing for me to say. And I shouldn't laugh at that because of this reason.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do that.
Instead, he kept engaging in that conversation.
Oh, yeah. Then he proceeded to tell me how there's no farmland out there. We need more farmland. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, we've over-farmed the farmland. We don't, if you mean there's not enough, quote, farmland to farm, it's because they've over-farmed it. He's like, oh no, they rotate the crops. I'm like, and you think that really helps? Rotating a crop between soybean and corn, and then just producing a bunch of corn and soybeans for livestock to eat and produce billions of gallons of shit to warm our earth and flood it and catch it on fire?
Oh, there's also that corn ethanol or whatever it is that they make.
Oh yeah, it's super effective. Oh wait, you have to fuel up more often, so it's not effective.
And it probably doesn't even run clean.
And then of course you make corn moonshine or corn whiskey.
And go blind. Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? That's my point. So the point is,
so why did he even bring that conversation up? Like that was just a random thought he had, or he was like, so you have an electric car.
Yeah, it's every time he sees me, he's like, so Summer has your car. I'm like, yes, for the 10,000th time, Summer has been driving that car consistently since she turned 16. Yes. That is correct. That is where the conversation started.
I was like, why is he bringing that up? Just
That's why.
because? Okay. So instead, you should have just said, so, she really wants a Corvette. So if you want to buy her a Corvette, she could drive that instead.
Right.
Oh, you got a point there.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have Swan in your corner when you go and talk to your dad.
Most of the time, I don't say anything. And I don't know if my parents think that I'm a jerk because I don't speak that much.
They just think you have no, well, okay, I guess you could go with your theory is they don't think you're intelligent because you don't speak.
That could be.
But you're picking your battles. You really are. You're picking the way you're going to, like I would with my mom sometimes. It's like I pick how I'm going to address her. I just don't go blurting it out. It's like, okay, sounds like we're all on the same wavelength. Is that, oh, you're spouting this, but I'm going to approach it logically. Well, to them, there is no logic and there's no way around their opinion. So you just kind of let it die.
Mm-hmm.
And with my parent, that's what I do. It's like, okay, the logical thing to do is give up or surrender. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong.
Is it just surrendering? Like, what do you usually say? I don't argue with stupid, or I don't argue with.
I don't argue with dumb people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's actually the better, but.
Yeah. I mean, all you're going to do is, if your plan is to infuriate them, continue to argue. But if you see no point in this where they don't know anything about it, that's it. Like the Beaveman knows a lot more than I do. I know I infuriate him at times, but there are times where it's like, you know what? No matter where I go with this conversation, he's going to win it or he's going to flip it on me.
Yeah, but there's plenty of things that you know way more about than I do.
Like what?
Oh, no.
I don't know, but there's stuff out there that I don't, because I don't know that much. No, the point is, I think that I have just tried to alter how I act around people, because when I first got out of the Army, they pushed my buttons so much. Everything made me so mad. There were several times when I told both my brothers, I'm like, I'll just take you outside and beat the fuck out of you. We'll just end the conversation that way.
So you're saying that you evolved?
That I don't know that I have evolved. I have just learned how to. I have not evolved. I have become the chameleon. That is not evolving.
I mean, I think that kind of is.
Well, you've learned to adapt to your surroundings. I guess that would be an evolve away.
Like a chameleon?
Yeah. Like a chameleon. Mm-hmm. Like a karma chameleon.
Sure. So I just don't engage. I just don't. And why should I? I just want to make sure that.
I mean, if you're feeling like a good argument, then engage.
Nah,
but
I just
See,
don't. It's
you
useless.
don't.
What's
See?
the point of arguing then?
It's not much point.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of people like to do it.
Yeah, Swan does it all the time.
I do.
Are you running for office?
No.
Why?
Because I'm definitely not political. I don't really feel the need to run for office.
I think you should.
No, thank you.
I think she should not.
I think I should
Because
not.
Then I would have to be like first whatever, and I don't want to do that because that's just dumb.
I could
Why is
advertise your
that?
podcast that way.
So here's my observations as comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy during the time of the pandemic. Now you can find some pretty good routines out there. I've heard some, but I do not steal comedy, as we all know. So here is my observations comedy during the time of the pandemic, because I'm not one. I live in this house. I don't really leave. So I'm driving down the road the other day, trying to figure out what a person who's an introvert living during the pandemic might find funny. Driving down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I see two people in a car.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that? Who's got that much room for that many people in their life? Look at this asshole. There's two people in a car.
Right. Yeah.
What's this guy got a friend?
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the day. Two people in a car.
Maybe they live together.
I don't know. But all day long, I was like, two people? Who's got that kind of time to have another person in their car? Who's got that many friends? That's a whole other person.
Yeah.
No?
No.
No?
No.
See, these are introvert thoughts. How about the other day, Rons? You ever heard
What's
this?
that?
You ever heard that phrase that this sucks balls?
Yeah.
Why? Well, why is that the phrase, do you think?
You know, that's a good question. I
It is a
couldn't
good
answer
question.
that.
Because I don't think that if something sucks balls, how's that a bad thing? Now, the only way I can think that this is a bad thing is if you get your balls sort of caught in some sort of very extreme sucking device.
Like a
And
Roomba.
Sure. And that would be super painful. I don't know if a Roomba would work, Rons. It doesn't have I don't think it has this
Like the
major-
old school vacuum hose.
Sure. Remember like that one that you hooked into your house? Did you ever have one of those? The in-home?
Like a central vac.
I've
Yeah,
I've
something
seen those before. I've never
Yeah.
had one.
My
but I've
parents
seen them
my
before.
parents had one of those. They had pretty good suction, or like a shop vac. If you slapped a shop vac on your balls, that would suck for sure, and that would hurt. So therefore, that term "suck balls" would make sense. But otherwise, I was thinking the other day, and I told Swan, I'm like, why is suck balls a bad thing? I would like it if somebody gently sucked my balls.
Can you make the face again like you made?
Yeah, like
Like-
you know how like a little koi fish runs, or like a goldfish eats, or like if something gently sucked my balls like a little koi fish. Not a koi fish.
And he's making a
I
face
mean, I
face
don't want a
for
koi
you all
fish.
right now.
I don't want a
He's-
koi
it's-
fish sucking my balls. I'm just saying, if something gently sucked my balls like a little koi fish, that's not a bad thing.
It might be kind of pleasant.
Yeah, it would be pleasant.
So would the blowfish
Maybe just
be a
maybe
lot
just
more happier for you?
No, they don't. They just blow up, Rons. They're not actually blowing.
Oh.
They expand. I'm just talking about something just gently. If a mouth just gently cupped my balls and did a little suction.
I mean, I guess technically Runs might be right because they do have to suck in to inflate. They're
Well, that might be painful. It depends on how much they're sucking in water. Not sucking in air, are they?
I think they're filled with. I don't fucking know. I'm not a blowfish.
How does that work?
I-
then?
well,
If they're
I-
underwater when
you
they inflate.
see
How does that
them,
work?
so I think they are
Do they have
sucking
like
in.
gas chambers, or
I
like how
have
do they
no
do that?
idea. We're gonna
Now
have to
I'm
look up
intrigued.
blowfish.
How does a blowfish?
But
expand?
when
Is that
people-
water or is it air?
When you see them like dried out, they do blow them up with air, like through their butthole. That is a
What
true
are you
thing.
talking
A
about?
blowfish, I've seen them like on display, like
Yeah, they take
blown
them to the
up.
local gas station. They stick an air tube up their
And
ass.
no,
and
they
don't
blow them up
think-
with like a straw or
I
a
don't
something.
think fish have a butthole.
Oh yeah,
Fish
fish.
fucking poop. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
but don't they just have one opening?
They have a mouth and a butthole. They
No,
don't
I
poop
mean-
out of
no,
their
I mean,
mouth,
don't they
ding dong.
have- I'm saying, don't they have?
Like a cloaca, like their
Sure.
eggs come out of the same place.
Yes, don't they?
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna
You
have
know
to
what,
look up
Swan?
fish
If you're
anatomy.
gonna give us an example of something, have some scientific evidence
I'm
to
just
back it
telling you
up.
that they do blow them up with air. They,
So
meaning the
be
people
mad.
that put them on display.
So here we go. Here is what you said just moments ago. This annoys me, right? And my approach here is keep talking, Swan. I'm just not going to engage. But
Sit
you
back and be quiet,
are
Ron.
engaging.
No, but if
Just-
you're going to give an example, I think it's okay for me to say, well, how does that work? How do they do that? How does a blowfish, if it's underwater, all of a sudden expand with air? Where does it get the air from? Does it have
expanding with
does
water.
it have its own chambers that all of a sudden it's like that ice pack that you pop it and you shake it up and it gets, maybe that's what happens. It's got its own little glow stick packs that all of a sudden
No,
it pops,
I don't think it
and that's
fills
what it
up with
expands
air.
with
We're
air.
gonna have to look it up. I have no idea. Maybe it's some underwater gas exchange thing. I don't know.
And then you're saying
But-
that they're blowing it up through its butthole, and I'm like, I don't know that
when
fish
you
have a
take it out of the
butthole.
water, they do have a butthole.
I mean, I know they poop, but isn't that the same place that the eggs come from?
Probably. I don't know. I'm gonna do a research project, folks, for next time.
And the other
I'll
thing
tell
that's
you
annoying
all
is when
about
people say that
blowfish.
people say they quote the old who was it? Oh gosh, no, I can't even think of it. But his saying was, "I don't drink water because fish fuck in it." Well, that's not true. Fish don't fuck.
They just
there are
just
two
spooge
things here
over
along
each
that
other.
line.
Yes,
They
it
just
is.
drive
Milk all
over
over
and
everything.
spooge over top of it.
Exactly.
Okay, first of all, back to what the Swan was saying. The pufferfish forces its body to puff by unhinging its jaw to widen its mouth. While unhinging the jaw, the fish gulps large amounts of water to quickly expand its entire body.
Okay, so it fills up with water. You're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Underwater.
So the second
but
thing is, I invited a friend of mine back in the day to go swimming with me out at a local lake. And she said, "Do you know what fish do in that water?" I said, "Honey, you don't want to know what the whales do in the ocean then. It's salty for a reason."
no, like you immediately went there.
What does that have to do
Well-
with- what I thought you were gonna tell us about the fish butthole, and yet you went to some other strange story of yours.
Well, it was like,
I mean,
it's
you
like,
were typing away there, so I thought you were looking something.
No,
up.
no. I looked up the pufferfish, but you along the same lines, it's like the fish fuck in the water. They do. That's their
Well,
environment.
They
but
don't
but
really
don't fuck,
necessarily
really.
fuck. They kind of like, what do they do? Like fertilize the eggs. Like
Isn't that
by
called like
what-
melting? Isn't that like melting or something like that?
I don't know. I don't. Again,
I
not
am
a
not-
fish sex expert.
I'm not a fish hatcherist or whatever that's called. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that
I mean,
means.
some fish have live babies, so they probably do. Dolphins fuck.
Sure, but they're not a fish.
They're a
A
mammal.
dolphin is not a fish, Swan.
Yes, dolphins are a mammal, but there are all fish that have live babies mammals. Then
Members of the Great
I don't
Slaptail
fucking
Nation.
know.
Members of the Great Slaptail Nation, go ahead and email us at slaptailsquad@gmail.com. If you know the answer,
if you're a
do
fish expert,
fish shoot the eggs out of the same hole as they shoot their poop out of?
Well, platypus is the only mammal that lays eggs. So
What does that have to do with anything?
well, I like
Nothing.
koalas. Jeez.
Yeah. I enjoy.
Giraffes
I
have
enjoy.
babies.
I enjoy half iced tea, half lemonade. Ron. Any other arbitrary facts that you want to throw out there for the rest of us? Ron's.
no, not yet.
Ron's. When I was 11,
When you were 11,
I really wanted a pair of parachute pants, but I felt that I was too fat to have them, and basically that's what my mom also told me.
Random fact.
Random fact, Ron's. Random facts.
So did
know,
you,
I-
did you get said parachute?
I did
pants?
not, Swan. Pay attention.
Well, you
Don't
said
you
you wanted
remember-
them.
don't you
never
remember-
said you didn't want. You never got them.
Don't you remember years ago when I kept telling you, I was like, I kind of want a pair of parachute pants. I kind of want to track them down. Remember, I looked them up online to try to find some.
Yeah.
Couldn't find them.
I mean, you probably could find them now. All that stuff.
Also, I don't know why they were called. I guess they were called parachute pants because the fabric was supposed to look like parachute silk.
so if I could,
Because
have
when
to
I was a
do-
paratrooper, our pants did not look like that.
Right.
I was the whole time. I was like, man, when am I going to get my parachute pants?
I think it's because they, like you said, they look like parachutes.
When am I going to get
yeah,
a pair
they
of
were
parachute
made out of
pants?
nylon and whatever. So, Beaveman, for Christmas, is that what you desire?
No.
No, for Christmas I want nothing.
Well,
That is what I want.
that's not going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. The only thing that I ever want is consumables. You want to give me a bar of soap from Duke Cannon?
Shout out.
Shout Duke Cannon.
Not a sponsor.
Wish it was a
Wish
sponsor.
It
Wish they
was.
sponsored us, but they don't. That would be sweet. Speaking of
Hey,
sponsors,
did you contact them?
as a matter of fact, I did. No, I didn't. But speaking of sponsors, and speaking of those who are interested in a little bit extra lubrication
Always.
Keep it moist.
Keep it moist,
Like-
people. Keep it moist. Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beaveman, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer-lasting pleasure. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole, if you know what I mean. My favorite product is Swiss Navy's silicone lube. Get it, use it, love it, and never be dry again. Once again, that's Swiss Navy at SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy, no matter who you love or how you love. Adios, mooch fuckos. We were a little bit late for that commercial.
Yeah.
You know, over time, I've realized there's some fun things to do. Remember how I used to say that it's okay to just ignore the commercial and make it slide and glide right in there with advanced lubrication? I don't really care so much anymore. I'm okay with just kind of announcing it and then playing it.
Yeah.
I like to mix it up a little bit. Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh. Do you think Ron knows that he has muted himself?
No,
It looks
he
like he's
doesn't
talking.
probably know that he muted himself.
Well, you know, every time that Tremonti or I had a sly intro into that, you would tell us, nope,
Ron's
that's
usually-
my
Ron's,
spot to
you
do.
never had a sly. You never had a sly one.
He's definitely forced it every time.
Yeah, you have.
Well, you know, with Swiss with
No, don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Yeah, don't even go there.
Yeah. No.
It's the wrong hole, wrong time.
You probably like it. Sicko.
I don't know how the JJ works. We were wondering when that was going to make its point.
Were we?
No, just you were. It's like he wants it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So unfortunately, no Tremonti today. Looking forward to when he will be back. I did have a question for him. So I'm a little
What was
sad
the
that.
question?
Well, I'll.
You're not going to answer. He's not going to ask it now.
I'll
Why
keep
would
it for
he?
later? It's not funny if he's not here. It was a funny question.
Do you think that he would make it up to us with the 2 in a row?
I think that he
think he
should.
should.
I really think he should. But do you
Yeah.
think it should just
A
be?
Tremonti twofer.
Is there any way we can phone him and you could record the on the podcast his voice? Or the
Well,
conversation?
Why would that make a
that
difference?
be
It's
any
no
different
from
than
what-
doing a podcast, ding
Well,
dong?
you know, it's
What
sort of
we're
like
doing
a
right
phone
now.
in. You know, it's sort of like when people
If he
phone
said
in
he wasn't
for a
available
conversation.
to podcast tonight,
Yeah, no, I
then
get that.
why
He's
would
not
he be
available to podcast.
available
No,
for a phone
Russ-
call?
listen, I get that. He's not available to podcast for a long period of time, but maybe a short period of time.
Like how long?
At least 3 to 4 times. A bare minimum of twice.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
don't
There
think
you
that's
go.
necessary. You know, usually if somebody is not available, I don't think that it's in our best interest to try to contact them, even for a short phone call. Just
Did you ask him? No.
I
At least
did.
3 to 4
Refused to call him.
times. A bare minimum of twice.
why do you want him? Why do you want it so badly? Oh, I know
Also,
why.
As a side note, Gayhead is what Ron
Okay,
from
there
the
we go.
Slaptail podcast wants.
We got to come
Tremonti
up with
to
something
give him.
new.
No,
Well,
you know
give us
what?
some new
You know what's really
content.
interesting?
He gets all butthurt when we make
Well, no,
fun
no,
of
no,
him.
I get that. But you know, it's sort of like, you know, he's got this great sound machine. What
You know
can
what?
he do with it?
You know, I'm going to bring up a point that I always bring up.
Bring it up. I'm ready for it.
I do everything on this podcast.
You know you do.
So the mere fact that somebody would have, dare I say, the audacity to say that I need
The
to do,
audacity.
I need to do this and I need to do that. To them, I say, go fuck yourself, because what is your contribution exactly?
Yeah,
Are
Ron.
you suggesting any new sound bites? I made a whole bunch of new ones. Are you suggesting anything for me to make a sound bite? Is there anything that you're suggesting? Is there?
No.
What are your fucking contributions? Any of you? Let me know. Tell me.
Ron's contributes
Yeah.
to your anger.
No. See, that's how mad it makes me. I hit the
It
freaking
makes
boom
you
arm.
hit the microphone. Yeah, it's very mad. Jeez, Ron's, how dare you? Why are you trying to get the
Swan, you are
Beaveman to
good at
engage?
playing the middle
Why
person.
are you
really
trying
are.
to get the Beaveman to engage in an argument with you? Is it so you can use some logic on him?
Yeah, gonna turn it
Well,
around.
look who's paying
Gonna
attention.
turn it around there, Rons.
Turn it around.
No, you turn it around on him. You always flip it on him.
That's what happens after you flip it.
You rub it down.
You rub it down.
Flip it.
You rub it down.
Yeah.
Flip it, turn it upside down, and rub it down.
Just don't put it in the wrong hole.
Well, that's okay.
No.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about the
Anyways.
other day, by the way, I'm going to wrap it up real quick. I'm going to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
I wish that I knew. I wish this one had attractive friends. She doesn't. No offense. I mean, not saying they don't have attractive friends. I'm just saying that they're all.
You say she's the prettiest one out of the group then?
She's definitely the youngest. They're all older than her by like 40 years.
That wasn't the
Not
question.
all of them. I have a couple of friends who are younger than me.
That wasn't the question. I said, would you think she's the prettiest of them all out of the group?
Here's my.
You know, it's
wish
the
list.
wraparound where he's he's avoiding that question.
No.
I don't need to have that validation, Rons. If you need to
I
validate
didn't
that
know.
you're
First
the
of all,
most
it wasn't your
attracted to Little
validation.
Powder Donut ever.
No,
She's the
I
only
wasn't
woman
going
that
for
you
your
see.
validation. You don't need to be validated. I didn't ask that of you.
Well,
But-
why do you need him to tell you that?
Oh, now we're gonna flip it on me.
I'm going
Okay.
to because you're going to be like, Little Powder Donut is the only one I have eyes for. She's the most beautiful. Like, I love you, Little Powder Donut. Ooh,
Wow, that sounded so much like me. Wow.
it does, didn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, not as sappy. Usually he's way more sappy than
Yes.
that.
I like it when she wears my t-shirts. I like her when her hair's in a bun and she's sweaty and just after a workout at the dojo, and it just makes it so great. If she wants to wear that, it's beautiful. She's beautiful no matter
I like it when
what.
she smells like a shithouse door on a tuna boat.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What else do you like about her? What else do you like about her, Rons? Go ahead, tell us one. What else does he like about her?
Yeah.
Her baby hands.
I'm sorry. Did you say?
He likes her baby hands because they make his wiener look big.
That's disturbing.
I thought about it a lot, which is
That's
more
really
disturbing.
disgusting. So you've thought about her baby hands and his penis
Yeah.
for a lot.
I did.
That's
Well,
you must
That's
leave
how
and
I-
never come back.
I
well, that's how I know I'm
Terrible.
huge.
No,
Her
that
baby
just
hands.
that just means your measuring stick is all wrong.
I will take whatever I can get.
Swapped all the freaking U.S. standard measuring sticks for the metric system. That's how
Yep.
Yep.
he's 8 inches. 8 inches.
In centimeters.
Centimeters. That's centimeters, homie.
Yeah.
No,
I
here's
got a
my.
solid 8.
I was thinking about it the other day about how I would like a couples friend. I was thinking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
What would my ideal couples friends be?
Uh-huh.
Any guesses? Rons, I'll give you first guess for the Beaveman's ideal couples friend. In other words, this is two people in a relationship, Rons, that would be friends with us as a couple.
I can think of one because they're basically almost identical to you.
And what would that be?
I would say. Sorry,
Okay,
I
well,
got her name
you
wrong.
don't have to say anybody's name. What I asked for was a description of a couple that I would be in. What is the Beaveman's couple pick, as in a descriptor?
Oh,
Not
description. Well, my mistake. I would say that he is very athletic, into martial arts like you are. She is into running and staying fit,
Okay, Swan, your pick.
like the swan.
Nope. I'm gonna go with a fun gay couple.
Okay, so 2 men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that would be my possibly number 2 pick. Number 1, Beaveman, ultimate couple pick.
A hot lesbian couple?
A hot lipstick lesbian couple that, no, not lesbians. A hot bisexual female couple in the age range of about 35 that are flirty nymphomaniacs, but also like to play board games. That's my number one couples friends pick. I'm a little bit insulted that neither one of you came up with that. Ron's went for a standard couple.
I did.
No,
I went for
was
the
gonna
standard
go there
couple.
first, but
Ron's just straight up went for a. So I think he was just like a regular couple.
No, you're right. You're exactly right. I went for the standard couple closest to your personality. I didn't go off the deep end like that. But yeah,
why would
that's
he
a really
want some introverted person that's just like him to come over and not talk to him?
I mean, that's
I mean, that would be okay a little bit, but
They play board games.
They have their own friends.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm looking for. So, people of the great Slaptail Nation, if you know any lipstick bisexual females in a committed relationship to each other, but who like to be flirty and who like to play board games, I am now conducting interviews. So the more the merrier. Swan will not be sitting in on said interviews.
Because she's boring.
Well, I'm going to show pictures of her, the other version, so that might help the selection process.
What do you mean by the other version?
Well, the current version.
Swan.
Well, the current
Not
version
Chubby
is
Swan.
Chubby Swan. The current version is Chubby Swan. We're kind of kicking that around. Might be Fluffy Swan. It depends on which way she kind of leans. Swan, what would you say?
Well, I'm gonna weeble and wobble, but I won't fall over.
Oh, I've seen your balance, especially if she tries to like some sort of a back kick. She's gonna fall.
It was pretty good today, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yes, great. Members of the Great Slaptail Nation, feel free to send those couples my way. If they want to get a little bit handsy with me, that's okay.
Go ahead. Whatever.
There you go.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm sure they don't.
But if they want to, it's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
Also, do we have any shout outs this week? We started watching a pretty good show yesterday. I'm kind of excited to watch that.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but
I am pretty excited. We're going to be watching a couple movies this weekend, though. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also excited that, Ron, you do know that the Willow TV show is finally coming out.
I do know that's coming out. That
I'm
looks like it's going to
excited.
pick up where it kind of left off.
I'm very excited for that. I want to watch the movie. I know I saw it on one of the streaming services, so I'm pretty excited. I want to watch that again.
I don't remember that movie. I know I've seen it like a long time ago. I just don't remember.
It's so good. It's so cheesy, but so good. Very good.
So are you looking forward to seeing the new Black Panther movie?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go to the movie theaters to see it. I'm going to wait for it to come out. I wouldn't say I'm super excited because, Black Panther is Black Panther, Wakanda forever, Chadwick Boseman, but hey, can't do much about him, if he's gone. I actually would have been cool with them never doing another one. Personally.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't make those decisions. I'm not part of that great money-making market. But you know what? I would be honored to be in the Star Wars universe. So, yeah, Disney out there. I know you listen to the Slaptail Squad.
They might.
If you want me to be in any cool Star Wars spin-offs, I think that I should be an evil character, though. So,
I mean, you'll take anything you could get, but you definitely would probably be better on the dark side.
Yeah, I don't want to be part of that, the pencil pushers of the Empire. More like the, like the wizardry type evilness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can necessarily be picky. Or if you should. You should just probably be open for anything.
Well, I mean,
in the Star Wars universe.
I don't. Well, I think it's better if you're picky. You've set those expectations out there.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that your documentary was called Catching Killers.
Ooh, it's pretty good. We watched the first
episode. Check it out.
First episode we watched.
No, you won't. Why do you lie to us, Rons?
First episode was on the Green River Killer.
Yeah, that
I will check it out when I get a chance.
Yeah, calm down. Jeez. Calm down. God. Yeah. All right. Well, other shout outs, Ron's. We should do our customary shout out to JD of the Monsters Lair podcast. You should be launching again in March. You can catch all of his episodes everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., etc., etc. He's got some pretty fun stories on there, spooky stories. And so check that out, the Monsters Lair podcast. And then, of course, shout out to our boys. Skylar Creates on Twitch. He is doing of course, that'll be over by the time you see this, but he's attempting a 24-hour podcast. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, our
And-
Croatian
24-hour podcast?
Okay, I'm not done shouting it
Wait,
out.
a 24-hour podcast or a 24-hour
24-hour
live
stream. Sorry, 24-hour live stream on Twitch. Thank you, Swan.
You're welcome. I was
very much.
confused.
No, that's
You
podcast.
always are.
That's right. Podcast is our realm.
Yeah, that's ours.
It's our
Yes.
domain. Also, shout out to our Croatian child, Strange Loop, also on Twitch. That's strange_LOOPE. He has been doing some streams where he's been doing building stuff with his Legos. Got him a really cool Lego set for Christmas, and it is like 3,000 pieces.
Wow,
He's-
that's pretty intense.
Yeah, he's been working on that, making good progress. So check him out also.
Hi, sons.
And that's it for my shout outs, where I am the Beaveman. Adios, mooch fuckos. They turn it over to the counter panel, or the co-panel, or whatever they want to call themselves.
Ron's probably has some shout outs or something
for
to
sure he
be
does.
embarrassed some people
He's probably
about.
going to call out the same folks that I just did, but that's okay. Go ahead.
He probably might.
He's going to do something lame like call out his family. Who?
just
No,
wanna-
no,
I
actually,
just want to give a shout out
Just for
to
the love of
little
my
Potter
life.
Donut for the love of my life.
It's like, this is for you, baby.
Oh, there you
Oh
go.
no.
This is
Shout out to everybody out there in the world. It's crazy, of course.
No.
no
I don't like that. Sounds like a flopping fish. I don't really like that noise.
Yeah, flopping fish.
Yeah, I don't know. Something. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Nobody
Not a
cares
fan.
Nobody cares what you're a fan of.
Okay.
Stop looking at me, Swan!
Okay.
Besides, it was Ron's turn to talk.
Stop looking at me, Swan!
Let's see. No, I really don't have any shout outs this week.
Well, you don't have to have a shout out. You don't have to. You can just say.
Okay,
it's fine.
so we'll go.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the Tremonde because I miss him and he's not here today. But that's okay.
Get your butt checked.
Yeah, and he should probably get his butt checked too. We all should. Everyone should get their butt
I
checked.
just had mine checked
It's all good.
pretty
Your butt's
recently.
checked. You did.
pretty recently.
I'm pretty sure my butt's gonna have to be checked in the near future. I don't want to get old.
45.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna have to
45,
get my
yo.
butt checked soon.
5. All right.
Runs,
Well,
get your butt checked.
Ron's will never get his butt checked. He's gonna die of colon cancer, unbeknownst to himself. He's just gonna drop dead.
There you go.
I guess that's the way to go, though. If you don't know, you don't have it.
I mean, it's not necessarily true, but I mean, you're just fooling yourself.
Denial is the thing.
You're just fooling yourself. All right. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye from the Swan.
And from the Rons, please drive safe out there. It is getting snowy here in the great state of Michigan, but other than that, stay sane, motherfuckers. It's crazy out there.